I'm fresh, I'm clean, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Alright. Welcome to the A24 Quest. We're recording outside today, as you can hear from the background noise.
I wish we were recording outside.
Here's the deal. It's really stuffy in the spare recording room that we use. This is the B room, not the A room. You can tell because it sounds bad. You can listen through all the videos, and if it sounds like weird and echoey, we're in the B room, not the A room. And we're currently in the B room, and it was really hot and stuffy in here, so I opened a big window, and you can probably hear the ambient noise of, like, birds chirping. I think somebody's doing, like, construction on their house out there.
It's called B for bad and birds.
Yeah. And, just deal with it.
And the other one's called A for adequate.
We may change it for the actual podcast, but there's going to be background noise. Just think of it as a nice, relaxing summertime ambience. Because it is. It's authentic. I hear people yelling and somebody just started up a pickup truck. So...
yeah. It's good.
We're doing okay.
So other than that, we pranked you. We didn't
definitely.
watch Barely Lethal.
That was a sick prank, by the way.
I know,
the
right?
The way we told them we were going
five.
to watch Barely Lethal, and then we did it.
Yeah.
That was great.
The joke's on you. We couldn't get our hands on it, so we did Free Fire instead.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
It's like no rhyme or reason. Just let's watch Free Fire.
Yeah,
that was basically it. Josh was like, "What are we gonna see instead?" And I'm like, "Free Fire."
And I'm like, "Okay, I have Free Fire. I can watch that."
Yeah.
So we did.
I've seen Free Fire roughly 3 times now.
And I wish I would have seen it 3 times by now.
So you really liked it?
I did.
It seems like the kind of movie you'd enjoy.
I had a good time.
Yeah.
I had a real nice time.
It's the second movie we've watched in the series that is produced by Martin Scorsese. The first being The Green Dragons.
Yeah.
So this one's quite a bit better. I think I even mentioned Free Fire when we were talking about The Green Dragon. Revenge of the Green Dragons.
Yep. So, where would you like to start today? Because I'd like to start with Green Room.
Yeah, sure. Let's start with Green Room.
Alright, so we watched Green Room.
Yeah, just last night.
Yes.
Last afternoon, I suppose.
Yep, in this very room, in fact.
Yeah.
And it was...
good.
It was alright.
I actually liked it a lot. I feel like I liked it a little more emphatically because I've got this thing for just really bleak, depressing movies, and this is a very, very bleak, hopeless, depressing movie. And so much so that it actually went beyond what I find satisfying, and it actually made me sad.
This made you sad?
Good on you. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just something about it. It's just like it's like the situation's so hopeless and like nothing ever gets better. Everything just gets worse, and it's it's a fun time. Fun for the whole family, might I add.
I mean, my brother and my mother just watched it, so yeah.
It's good.
I thought it was okay. I'm glad I saw it.
This is of the breed of A24 movies where it's like actually a quality A24 movie.
Yes.
It's like a A24 like poster child movie. The other stuff feel like cheap knockoffs. This is the real deal.
Well, both of these movies.
Yeah, both of them are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean I had a good time with this one too. You know, I watched it and it was fun. I enjoyed myself. It didn't make me hate myself, which was nice, even though it had those kind of themes.
You didn't find it all that depressing then. Me, it was just the atmosphere was so oppressive that I just felt numb. So do you? Okay. Like, I wouldn't call this a fun movie, because, like, any bits of violence are at the expense of innocent life. Yeah. And they're not particularly satisfying, they're just kind of disturbing.
But my reasoning for it is because I expected every ounce of it.
Oh, right. I expected it, too, but it's still kind of a bummer.
Well, sure, it's a bummer, but, like, I had a fun time, not that it's a fun movie.
Yeah, right.
You know?
I see what you mean.
Yeah, because, like, everything that happened to all these people... for the most part, was well expected to happen.
Oh, well,
like they set it up.
Once you understand the premise of the movie, it's like, okay, so everybody's gonna die.
So there's these 4 band members going cross country, and then they end up in they wake up in a field. They go siphon gas, and they go farther cross country to Portland, I believe. Or was it what? Anyway, they meet up with this guy with a mohawk, and he gives them this really crappy gig in like a small town
it's like a little diner. Yeah.
In a corner of these very, very like normal people, and they're doing this like hardcore punk. Yeah. They're just screaming and yelling, and then they're mad because they got like $6 each, split between the four of them, and it was bad.
And one of the band members tries to choke their agent guy, and this plays into I really like the way this movie's set up, because without like any expositional dialogue, you just get the characters.
Yeah,
like, you just get what kind of people they are, and it's like, all right.
Yeah, no, they did a really good job as far as acting throughout the
for sure,
all of them,
very well acted.
Patrick
Stewart
didn't do a fantastic job. I actually agree with you. I think his accent was awful.
His accent's really weird. It's off-putting, and like I said to Josh as we were watching it, I can't tell if he's just doing a bad job or if it's just I'm so used to hearing his normal British accent that hearing him trying to do an American accent is weird. But as the movie went on, I decided it's just a really shaky American accent.
Yeah, like that. The accent, as far as that, wasn't very good. It
was so shaky that at times I was like, I don't even know if he's trying to do an American accent. I think it's like, are they implying that he is a foreigner? That he's like, which if not British,
can't be, because he's trying to run this like revolution of the skinheads.
But then as it went on, it's like I decided that they're trying to say he's trying to be an American accent. He's just Patrick Stewart. Look, I love Patrick Stewart. All right, I adore him.
I do too.
He's one of the greatest living actors, but he cannot do an American accent.
Not in this movie, for sure.
It's just not good. But his performance, besides that, is pretty good, because he's a very intimidating character in the sense that he's just business-minded and he has little regard for human life.
Yeah.
And he's kind of unpredictable in that regard. It's like you never know what he's doing next. And
so these four band members, they go, and they play that diner gig, and the guy sets them up with another gig down a little bit south from where they are, because he says the scene's dead, so he's sending them to this rough and tumble backwoods biker bar with trucks and skinheads area where he says you might not want to mention religion or politics for good reason. And they go there, they set up their stuff, they're put into the green room, which is a waiting room for musicians.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of like white power posters everywhere,
and Nazi
memorabilia, and there's a big Confederate flag. And it's just I think the set designers had a blast.
Oh my
like,
God. Well,
how can we make this just the worst room imaginable?
Everything's spray painted. There's anarchy signs and pentagrams. It was great.
I liked the set design in this movie.
I did too.
It's like they had a good time with that. That's
Well,
because there's very little actual locations in the movie. It's mostly shot on location, and like the building. It's one of those horror movies where it mostly takes place in one location.
You know, both these movies were filmed almost in one location.
That's true. That's true.
That's a weird tie-over.
Yeah. I didn't even realize. I didn't even plan that out. But that is very, very true.
So they're put into this room. They go on. They play their set, and it goes poorly at the beginning, and then
some people like it
getting better.
Yeah, it's like they start and people are immediately throwing like beer bottles and like water at them.
Yeah, and then people start dancing. Some people start. You don't really see how the crowd reacts after that first song, because the first song went poorly.
One of the members is Jewish. And this is a place where people... I think there's a throwaway dialogue, like, don't let them know you're a Jew or something. Like,
it's the girl in the group of the four band members is like, if you don't do this, I'm going to tell them you're Jewish.
Oh, that's what it was. So maybe he's not Jewish. Maybe he is Jewish. I don't know.
Well, it could go either way.
Yeah. But that member specifically, like... people were just eyeing him down because he looks kind of timid.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a very bad situation.
Well, for sure. You got a real rough crowd. Yeah. In the crowd, you see this one guy who looks very memorable, and then he gets brought back later. They finish their set. They go back to the hallway where the green room is, and all their stuff is in the hallway, and they're told to get out. Somebody says, my phone. And then somebody else says, I'll get it for you. They go into the green room and they witness a murder.
Or the aftermath of a murder.
The aftermath of a murder, I suppose. And then you see the one guy who was in the crowd back in this room, who's the guy who probably murdered, and then you later find out, yes, he did. And then it just gets bad from there. You want to take the rest of this?
That's the point in which this plot synopsis should end, because from that point on, that's where it just goes nuts, and you don't want to spoil anything. I think it kind of descends into madness from that point on. Like, I like the way. The funny thing is, it's like, despite this place being really rough, they actually portrayed the like managing staff in a pretty realistic way, in which they didn't seem like monsters. Like, there's this one manager guy, stage manager, who's like, he's just doing his job, and he's just trying to like clear up this mess, and he's like, he has no stakes in either side. He's just kind of there, and like it's like, even as things are going poorly, he tries to control the situation, and it's just, things just go south really, really quickly. Yeah, it all just descends into, stuff like... And the vast majority of the movie is these characters trapped in this green room, and trying to get out, and doing a poor job. There's not a lot of action. It's mostly just tension, which I like. I liked that. I was almost thinking maybe it would turn into just like ridiculous like gore spectacle at some point, but it never really did. I mean, there is some ridiculous gore, but there's more tension to back it up, and it's suspenseful, and I liked that. Yeah, it's just like I said, this movie's just got this oppressive atmosphere that's always present, and it's a very effective horror thriller. Moral of the story: you're gonna die. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was a pretty good cover of that. Yeah, about I wanted to your personal. I want to mention, I should probably, I don't know. I don't know how relevant it is, but the first thing I want to mention was there's some, like, humor in there, which I wasn't expecting at all. It's like, uncomfortable humor. Like, when the big guy comes to them and was like, bro, what was the second to last song in your set? Oh my god, that was hilarious! He tells him that, he's like, that was hard, dude. That's the one I murdered her to. Yeah. And he's just like, oh my god, what? There's some really dark humor, which it was unexpected, but it was very welcome. Oh my god, it was so stinking funny. I don't know, like it almost plays as if it's not supposed to, but it's so funny. It has to be, right? That's the intention of it. Like it's not supposed to be funny, but due to the context of the situation, it is inherently funny. It's just so funny. And yeah, great movie. I was gonna say, I really enjoyed it as a somewhat of a musician. I loved the way it portrayed like touring bands playing in small town venues. It was very realistic in that sense. Yeah. And yeah, just as a music guy, it's a great movie. So you ever siphon gas? Yeah. Did you ever get murdered? Yeah, actually, just last Tuesday. Did you ever get chopped up? Yeah. All right. But yeah, no, I liked the music aspect of it. That was pretty cool. Well, and once again, an A24 movie being pretty is no surprise here, but it was. Oh yeah, this is a really gorgeous movie. They did a pretty dang good job with all the action scenes as well. There's nothing spectacular between the action, but it was a pretty movie, and I understand what was happening. And it's very stylized. There's one sequence where they're doing this mosh pit thing, and the entire thing is slow motion with this really... I'm pointing at the feet. Really poignant, eerie music in the background, and it's all just really super slow motion. I really like It's the only point in the movie where the style got, a bit much, but I was just on the verge of saying, okay, that's a bit much, but it was it was fine for the most part.
My favorite part of that was when they were pointed at the feet and you saw the beer can getting crushed under people jumping, and I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
It was well done. Forest. You saw pretty forests.
Yeah. It's a pretty movie, but it's not like it's not distractingly pretty. Like it just does the cinematography does its job, and it's good looking, but it's not really like the mainstay of the movie. The mainstay of the movie is the tension and the horror.
Yeah.
So yeah, good movie.
Yep.
Gets a 1.5 thumbs from me.
I give props to having practical effects.
Yeah, that was
High
nice.
five to practical effects.
Although this is the kind of movie where like CGI would just be foolish. I mean, like, they don't really do anything that can't be achieved with practical effects, so it's like,
but I mean, they could have, and that would have been sad.
Yeah, that would have been really stupid.
Okay, one of the biggest downsides I had with this movie, because negatives are always as nice as to share as positives. The biggest, most thing that stuck in my face was whenever dogs were involved.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. Here's the thing, right? I was talking it over with Josh, and it's like, what people need to understand is shooting dog attacks in movies is just the hardest thing ever. You can't have a real dog like attack an actor, and B, you can't have an actor actually like beat a dog.
Yeah.
So you have two ways of going about it. Fake the whole thing, do it with like CGI or like with a fake dog, and just like camera tricks to make it look real.
Mm-hmm.
Or B, you do what this movie does, and you have a real dog just kind of aggressively lick an actor in a way that doesn't particularly look like a dog attack.
Maybe gnaw on a steel-toed boot.
Yeah. And it doesn't look very vicious or aggressive, despite the fact that the scene's very, very vicious and aggressive.
Well, and that's like the one part where the cinematography purposely was bad so that it didn't show anybody getting hurt, but it was implied.
Yes, exactly.
And it just kind of looked bad. There was this part where they grabbed a mic stand and they were trying to hit the dog, and it kind of looked like they were waving it.
It looked like they were like really restrained so that they don't actually hit the dog. And it's like, that looked really fake, and it took me out of the movie a lot. But,
and I understand that I don't want them to hurt anybody, human or animal, but it looked bad. Is the point? Like, they should have done something different.
It would have been,
that case.
Like I said, it would have been more like they should have kind of more camera trickery and more like editing trickery would have been useful.
Yeah, if you would have,
I get the sense that I have no clue who directed this, but I get the sense that they weren't really quite sure how to film a dog attack, so they just did it as best they could, but it looks not great.
Yeah. And I think there are ways to go about doing it. I just don't think they did a great job.
Yeah. But it's really a minor thing. Like
in the end of things,
it takes you out of a couple scenes, but it's like, I didn't even remember it till you brought it up. So it's pretty like not a major thing.
That's pretty laid back. Otherwise, like, the plot was fine. It wasn't fantastic, but it was fine enough. It gave you a good starting point and a decent ending point. I think that's about it. One of my favorite parts in the entire movie is the very, very, like, last, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Because there's it's not really spoiler, but there's a running joke about, okay, it's a little bit spoilery.
Just say the last 15 seconds are good.
So, yeah.
It is pretty...
There's a running thing throughout the movie, and it gets referenced at the very end, and the character says, "Who gives a fuck?" Go tell somebody who gives a fuck.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a fantastic ending to the movie.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Well, because it just kind of signifies that it's like, that was... Okay, this is me getting really lofty, and I apologize if I sound like I'm talking out of my own ass here, but... The entire thing with that is, even as they're forced to do these pretty horrible things, and this situation being worse and worse, and they're basically reverting to their primal survival instincts, them bringing this running joke up a lot kind of signifies their humanity and their refusal to be just completely animalistic, and they can have a sense of humor about things. And at the very end, he brings it up, and he's just completely dismissed, and that's the end. And it's like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
They're just they've lost their humanity, and that's nice. It's a feel good ending. It really is. So
yeah, no, I thought it was very well done.
yeah.
As far as endings go, that was probably one of my favorite endings I've seen in a long time, actually.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but it was a very good ending.
And, well, I mean, as far as the stuff I've been watching lately, like, endings are usually just kind of like, okay, it's over. But this, I actually thought that's a good ending.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
And then, I watched Free Fire.
Neat. Let's move on to Free Fire, eh?
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait, was that? Oh no. The camera might have been, I legitimately can't tell. Whatever. If the first half of this episode sounded bad until now, the mic was unplugged, but I don't think it was.
I don't think it was.
It looked kind of loose, so I don't know. Hopefully it wasn't, but if it was, sorry about that.
Anyway, Free Fire.
Free Fire.
I like Free Fire.
Me too. I've said, I've seen it a few times, and I still like it, so...
Actually, I'm actually going to pull up the page for this one because there's a lot of people that I want to talk about.
There's
more specific.
Cillian
more
Murphy.
specifically.
Is it Cillian Murphy or Killian Murphy?
I think it's Killian.
Maybe.
Cillian?
That says maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's Cillian Murphy. There's...
It's too hard.
I'm just going to say Killian. There's...
Charlton Copley.
Charlton Copley, my man.
Brie Larson. Armie Hammer.
Yes.
And a bunch of other people that nobody would probably recognize.
Right. Fair to say.
You know, you might recognize Michael Smiley if you've seen Out The World's End with, the movie with the people and the...
I don't... I haven't
He
seen
played the green... He played the weed seller.
I've never seen The World's End.
Yes, you have.
Have I?
Yes, you have.
Okay, I'll take your
Nick
word for
Frost.
it. Oh, that
Simon
one.
Pegg.
I keep mixing it up with This Is the End.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He played Dr. Green or whatever, the guy who was gonna sell him weed.
I haven't seen that movie in a coon's age.
Okay, well he does. My point being, otherwise, you got a bunch of other people that are unknown.
Okay.
So let's talk about the plot. It's real simple. There's it's a deal going down.
Okay, I'll explain the plot.
You go right ahead.
Since you did Green Room. There are so there's a group of criminals, which is one faction in this plot, and there's gun dealers, which is the other faction of this plot. And the gun dealers and the criminals, they don't really like each other all that much. They meet in a warehouse, and one of the gun dealers recognizes one of the criminals who has committed some atrocity to his sister last night. They say, and by the way, they keep saying bottled, and I actually had to Google what bottled means, and essentially he hit her with a bottle. That's all it means. He disfigured this guy's sister last night with a bottle. And because of that, tensions are really high, and they want to fight. And then a shootout breaks out, and that's the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it goes on for 55 minutes.
Yeah, there's like 20 minutes set up for a movie-long shootout.
Yes.
And that's the gimmick of this movie. The entire movie is like a one-act play that's just one long shootout.
Yeah.
And that sounds awful, but it's really good. Because I admire whoever decided to do this movie, because it's no small task to take a shootout and interject character dialogue and character growth in the middle of a literal shootout, but he does over the course of the movie, and it's good.
Well, this was written and directed by Ben Wheatley, who you've actually talked about just a little bit, saying about, how he made the set for this entire movie in Minecraft.
Yeah, which is a thing that I do.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what a cool thing.
That is pretty neat. I can imagine it, I can see how he would have done it. It's just...
Yeah.
It's a pretty... relatively small set. It's a warehouse. They shoot the whole thing in a warehouse. I assume it's a real warehouse.
Yeah, it is. Apparently, I just read up on all the IMDb facts and goofs today. Apparently, there was multiple calls to police because of gunshots.
Right, I can imagine because there's a lot of gunfire in this movie, and if they had to shoot it in like an actual warehouse in the warehouse district of a city, that would have been tough. I always wonder how filmmakers go about doing that. If if you have a permit to shoot, and I assume obviously they had a permit to shoot, like in both meanings of the word, they had a permit to shoot the film and they had a permit to shoot guns. I assume. How do you deal with the police in that case? Do you just tell them like, "Yo, we're gonna have like this whole shootout going on over here for a film"?
Typically. I would assume that's how it goes.
But then it's like if somebody calls in, like they've got it. The police have to investigate regardless. Because like, what if a real shooting happens there? Like then they have to go check it out.
Definitely. The idea is that if you were smart and forethinking, what you would do is you would tell the police. The city would know because of your filming permit.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, and then also you would tell the surrounding area, kind of like shop owners and whatnot, that hey, this is what's happening. Don't worry about it. But you forget about those things when you're very set on your goals, and so it makes sense why one would forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's even what they did, but like a few people are going to slip through the cracks. Like maybe not everybody's uniformly informed.
Or somebody just walks by.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, there is like a whole shootout going on over there.
Yeah. So yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
What else do you want to say about this movie? I mean, I liked it.
I how I have my A24 like movie lists. I write a brief review of each movie and each thing, and I could not think of a single thing to say about this movie. I said it's got Charlton Copley in it. It's got Cillian Murphy. It's got Armie Hammer. The whole thing's one big shootout. That's about it.
Yeah,
and it's good for that reason, but there's not a lot to it.
No, not really.
It's a very straightforward movie.
It's a good time.
It's entertaining.
There's funny jokes. There's good dialogue. There's not to give away too much, but betrayal.
Yeah. There's betrayal out the wazoo in this movie. There's like no two characters that don't betray each other at some point. And
a lot of death.
Yeah.
There's a lot of death, a lot of people dying, a lot of people getting shot. I didn't realize
that's another parallel between this and Green Room. In Green Room, everybody dies and it's depressing. In this, everybody dies and it manages to be very entertaining.
Yeah. Well, and people are just getting shot constantly and hurt by like debris, which I thought, wow, that's really I haven't seen people.
It's actually they're worried about infections and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's like this is a level of detail I don't think I've ever seen in a movie like this.
I don't remember the last time I saw a movie where someone was hiding behind something, that something gets shot and a little bit of debris from it hits them and they get hurt.
Yeah.
I don't remember ever seeing
And that's realistic if you think about it. Because
Yes.
it's like, in an environment like that, there's going to be debris flying all over the place. And that hurts when it hits you.
Yeah.
Like, I would know. I hurt myself at a shooting range because of this.
It's really quite... For thinking is good thoughts.
and it's they even make a joke out of it. Like Charlton Copley's wrapping himself in cardboard and he was like, it's to protect against infection. Also, can I just say how great Charlton Copley is in everything? Like I've never seen him in a role where he's not just utterly fantastic.
I've only seen him in 3 things.
What 3 things?
Chappie, and he played Chappie.
Yeah.
And it was alright. Not that he was doing the acting.
Well, he was doing the vocal acting. And
it was fine.
His performance is really cartoony and over the top. Because I don't think he really cared about it.
And I saw him in Hardcore Henry, and that was amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure. He carries that movie.
Yes, he does. And I saw him in this, and he was pretty good. Yeah.
I've seen him in the A-Team, District 9, Chappie.
Yeah, he was in District 9. Who was he in District 9?
He's the main character of District 9.
Really?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, well, he was good in that too then.
That was like one of his first big movie roles. Anyway, A-Team, District 9, Chappie, Hardcore Henry, and now this. And he's in that new movie, Gringo, which looks not great to me, but I almost want to see it just for him.
Yeah.
And he is just consistently one of my favorite actors, and I've actually spoken with him. I bring this up all the time. I'm not even joking. I bring this up all the time. Spoken's not the right term to use. I've conversed with him over the internet. I've interacted with him over the internet. He did an AMA, and he answered my question.
Good job.
So, of course, we're best friends. If you ever want to hang out, just let me know. I'll hook you up.
Good. We actually have him here today.
Yeah, exactly. Say hi, Charlton. I would imitate Charlton, but I don't know what he sounds like, because his accent's different all the time, and he's South African. So I assume he sounds like either the members of Die Antwoord or Die Antwoord. Nobody sounds like that. Nobody sounds like that. Speaking of, Chappie.
Nope. Nobody sounds like that.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, back to Free Fire.
Yeah.
Another up on this one, just like Green Room, all practical effects.
Yeah.
There's
not all practical effects. There's a little CGI here and there, but
as far as the actual like effects, like people.
There's some like CGI blood spray.
Yes.
But as far as like most of the effects are practical for the most part.
There's a scene where somebody, to keep it anonymous.
Yeah.
Somebody gets set on fire, and they are actually there and acting and on fire. There's a scene where somebody's head gets ran over, and they used a dummy and fake, like, a different kind of tire to run it over, and fake blood to imitate real blood. And it was amazing.
Yeah, it looked really real.
It looked really good.
Yeah.
It all looked good.
Good effects. This is a just no-nonsense kind of movie where, like, look, it's just a big shootout all in one location. We're just going to have fun with the effects, have fun with the acting. It's just going to be a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And they pull it off wonderfully.
Yeah.
It's not an award winner by any means. It's not a like timeless masterpiece, but it's very entertaining.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand if you're not looking, if you're going to go see this movie and you're not expecting a 55-minute shootout, you may not have a great time.
Yeah, if you want like drama. I mean, there's drama, but it's like every scene of drama has at least a couple shootouts in it. So
yeah. So I'm guessing that's why this movie didn't get as high of a rating on IMDb, because when I looked it up, it has like a 60 on both Metacritic and user reviews.
This is the closest A24's gotten to just doing a full-on like popcorn action movie, which is, you know,
I mean, it's not even that though. It's like a part of a popcorn action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so bizarre. But I mean, that's the best reason I can think of why people would be so negative on it, is because it's just like not what they were expecting.
I suppose. But like, I feel like nobody's going to be like that, because this movie marketed itself as one long shootout. That was the entire marketing gimmick behind it. And to be fair, that's exactly what it is.
But there's a lot of movies that do that. Like, we just saw the trailer for Equalizer 2.
Right.
If you saw that, if you actually said, okay, well, this is how much of it is showing him running around killing things and shooting, then yeah, the whole movie would just be that. But when you go to see the movie, that's not what you're expecting.
Of course.
You're expecting...
But no, like, this movie, they really... Have you seen, like, the trailers for it? They really lay it out.
Yeah, they do.
Like, they really say, this is one long shootout. They don't make it seem like they're cherry-picking action sequences. They make a point to say the entire movie's a shootout.
They do, but, you know, a lot of people don't take those literally.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like, oh, okay, they'll have a long shootout.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't understand. It's 55 minutes of a shootout.
Yeah.
It's an actual long shootout. That's the whole movie.
Yep.
And I don't think people were expecting that when going to see it.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I loved it. My biggest downside was maybe it played a little bit in the middle of the road sometimes. It didn't do anything really fantastic. Sometimes it just kind of sat in normalcy. Actually, that's not true. My biggest downside was near the beginning. They're conversing with Armie Hammer, who is the only gun dealer at the time they're talking to, and there's a bunch of quick, rapid succession cuts between different cameras, and it was awful. That one scene, I'm like, wow, this is really bad. I hope this doesn't continue, and it doesn't. But that one scene just in the very beginning where they do that like 4 times.
It's funny that
bad.
I agree that the movie feels shakiest in those 20-30 minutes before the shootout starts, because it's like when I first watched this, I was like, I don't know if I love the aesthetic of this movie so far. It just feels like knockoff Scorsese, but it feels like once the shootout starts, then the movie just like it's like, whew, thank God that's out of the way. Now we can just do what we're good at.
Yeah.
And that's just the rest of the movie. Where it's like, okay, I get it.
But yeah, there was...
Because it's like, you can't just like have the first scene be the shootout. You gotta like set it up a little bit.
But there was just this really bad part with just some really bad editing choices.
Yeah.
In my opinion, of course. The whole movie is about an hour and a half long, and the time in the movie goes for about an hour and a half, so...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about it the second or third time I watched it. Like, I could see this situation, if it were happening in real life, lasting this long. Because it's like, it's a shootout where nobody wants to die, nobody wants to be a hero. So it's just this really long stalemate, basically, where, like, occasionally people take risks, but they're just kind of hiding behind things and, like, taking pot shots. So it's like, I could see this in reality taking, like, an hour to, resolve itself.
Yeah, well, and it was between a lot of people.
Exactly.
There was, like, double digits worth of people in this movie that were shooting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. Overall, I really liked it. The worst thing was the beginning, and it kind of playing the middle of the line sometimes.
There's some odd humor. There's like a couple odd one-liners that don't really land, in my opinion. But
sometimes,
like,
sure.
But it's a really minor complaint because for the most part it's great.
Yeah. So if you like shootouts and you like kind of humor, it's good.
Yeah.
It's
really for me. You know what? I'm just gonna say for the sake of verses this week, I'm not even gonna throw my hat in the ring because these are 2 very good movies that are good for different reasons. And if you like fun action. If you like fun action, go see Free Fire. If you love like really tense, dark horror, go see Green Room. And if you like both, see both.
I agree, but I still like Free Fire better, so Free Fire wins. Woo!
Yeah, Free Fire. Okay.
But no, seriously, go see both of them. They're both very good.
If I had to pick one, I'd probably go Free Fire as well. But seriously, let's not undercut Green Room because I really love Green Room as well. So
yeah,
see them both. For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's A24 Quest for this week. We'll be coming back next week.
It's really weird not like bashing movies.
Yeah, kind of.
Like these weeks where we just have good movies, it's weird.
It's like, what do we say? It's like, well, it was good. I
really
liked
good.
it.
I'm really chill right now because I didn't get worked up. It was really good movies.
Yeah.
So that being said, next week is a secret. We may or may not watch...
movies.
We may or may not watch... Okay, so the movie we dodged for this week because we couldn't get a copy of it was...
Barely Lethal.
Barely Lethal. So we might be watching that next week, but we might not. And because this whole thing's uncertain, we have like 4 possibilities. We could announce them all, but we're just not going to.
So get ready.
Yeah.
Because it's coming.
Yeah, so...
What's coming, we don't know. It's coming.
You won't know what we're watching until you see the title of the video when it's uploaded, so...
And we'll let you know right off the bat, like usual.
Right.
End of the story, watch Green Room and watch Free Fire.
Yes, and watch Barely Lethal, so we don't have to.
And watch more of our podcasts.
Yes.
Because we have a good time here.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Bye. Whoa.